Pivoting a company's business model is not new, but recently it seems to become one of those new buzzwords as business owners figure out how to respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Many companies have to shift their business models quickly in order to survive. Today I'm going to talk about the pathway matrix, also known as the Ansoff Matrix, which was developed by Igor Ansoff and initially published in the Harvard Business Review in 1960. It's a core business strategy tool which is incredibly useful for mapping out your business options and helping gain some clarity on how to take your business forward. Ansoff suggested that there were effectively only two approaches to developing a growth strategy, through varying what is sold and who it is sold to. If you combine these two variables, then it delivers four strategic options, each with a differing level of risk. I've attached a downloadable PDF, which I encourage you to use. I've used this concept in my own business and found it really helped with structuring my ideas and gaining some much needed clarity. In essence, it's a 2x2 matrix with one axis representing new and existing markets and one axis representing new and existing products or services. I'm going to look at each one of these in turn, starting with the lowest option first. The lowest risk strategy is for a company to sell its existing products into existing markets, as it knows its customers, has established channels, and so on. This method of market penetration is only really possible when markets are still growing or where organisations are prepared to use other elements of the marketing mix, such as pricing discounts and additional promotional activity, to penetrate the markets at the expense of competitors. In the current climate, staying still may carry more risk than it has previously. I would suggest there's another way to consciously stay in this segment, and that is through improving the internal efficiencies of your organisation. The second strategic option is to develop new products or services for existing markets or customers through a product development strategy. Last week I spoke about my business, or about all businesses really, having loyal customers, but they were starting to demand a different product or service. If I liken this to my business, we clearly offer a payroll service, but 3 months ago I didn't offer the service of processing furlough or claiming the government CJRS grant. I mean, let's face it, 3 months ago no one had even heard of furlough. But I hadn't adapted and offered this new service, I would have lost or driven away many customers, and customers that have been with me for a long time. I would now argue that COVID-19 has made the second option a lower risk option than remaining in the first traditionally viewed low risk space of operation. Adapt or die, as Charles Darwin said. The third strategic option involves taking existing products or services into new markets using a market development strategy. This is also considered to be riskier than the first option of market penetration, as it can be difficult to understand the complexities of new markets. Is this the route you choose to follow, then there's going to be a large focus on marketing efforts and relationship building, as, for example, the channels to sell a product to industrial users will be very different to the way in which businesses reaches household consumers. Both these options require incremental change. The final strategy in the Ansoff Matrix is diversification, which is developing new products for new markets. This is seen as the riskiest strategy of all four, as the organisation is moving into unfamiliar markets with a completely new offering. However, this risk can be mitigated by undertaking related diversification, and it could be that by adopting this, you may have the potential to gain the highest returns. In essence, this is equivalent of a business being in startup phase. One genius example of this adaptation I've read about recently was a hotel in Edinburgh who had changed its business model from offering rooms as sleeping areas to offering its rooms as single occupancy office areas for those struggling to work from home. And there was even the additional option of lunch being delivered. I mean, how clever is that? The success of any of these strategies is dependent on the organisation being able to effectively conduct research and insight into their customer and market needs, as well as their own internal capabilities and competencies for driving innovation. So I'd really suggest you download the attached PDF and see if you can apply this to your own business. Good questions to ask yourself when considering your options of how you're going to take your business forward are the market size you're moving into, the strengths and weaknesses of your competition, the cost of implementing your new strategy and how long it will take, and your return on investment. Hopefully you'll encourage some new ideas and innovation.